right, so it does appear that Kanye and Ben Shapiro are going at each other. Now, I'm sure you guys have heard that Kanye had a meeting with Trump, but not by himself, but also with, I believe, Nick Fuentes and I think Milo Yiannopoulos, and maybe even somebody else. So Kanye has gotten so insane that he's actually now hanging out with lunatic fringes who are literally like in the gutter kind of thing, Nick Fuentes and Milo Yiannopoulos. So he's completely just 100% gone off the deep end. And so Trump himself is now actually getting backlash for that meeting. Originally, he kind of tried to defend it. Now he's trying to do damage control and pass the buck away to somebody else and say, oh, it was this person's fault, like, oh, this and that. He's trying to blame Kanye for all this stuff. Kanye asked Trump to be his vice president. Lots and lots of crazy stuff going on. But Ben Shapiro and Kanye both getting into it with each other. So let's go ahead and check this out. Ben Shapiro sent out a tweet early in the AM. He says, a good way not to accidentally dine with the vile racist and anti-Semite you don't know is not to dine with the vile racist and anti-Semite you do know. So what you can see here from Ben Shapiro is he's basically like trying to say that, you know, you shouldn't dine with the vile racist and anti-Semite that you do know if you're trying to not do one with one you don't know. Like the accessory people that came with Kanye, it's like, oh, well, you don't want to, you know, dine with Kanye, an anti-Semite and vile racist, that you would want to do that. And so he's going after Kanye here, of course, and he refuses to name either of their names, which goes to show you just how much by the balls that Donald Trump has the party in. And I guess some of the online people now are really held under the balls by Kanye too. But you can just see like so many people in terms of like really going after him, in terms of just so many people. Seems Ben is the propaganda machine for the Democrats' fake outrage. When was the last time Ben spent a week on Biden being friends with Al Sharpton? Literally got a young Jewish man killed in the Crown Heights riots. Interesting. Ben Shapiro can't so works for you, but I think this is a liberal account, to be fair, though. You're talking about Trump. He clarified it, and to me it was a setup. I do agree he has to have better judgment who he hangs out with, bad optics, and feeds into the left agenda. And so his replies are basically all people, either right-wingers going after him for this, or he is somebody who is going to, or it's liberals who are like making fun of him, basically. But Ben Shapiro is very often somebody who is on the receiving end of a lot of anti-Semitism from the right wing, because there's a ton of anti-Semitism on the right wing, especially the fringes, right? And so a lot of that is kind of showing, it's going to show itself again. But Kanye responds saying, Shapiro starvingly accepts $100K from one of my opponents, then tries to trash me. So here, this is the article. He posts a picture. I'm going to show you the whole article. It's an article from Media Matters. It says, Ron DeSantis paid over $100,000 to Ben Shapiro's Daily Wire. I actually saw this article, and I was going to do a video on it, but I kind of thought about it a bit, and I was like, this isn't exactly what I was thinking it was. And so this is a kind of debatable one. I'm curious to hear your guys' thoughts on this down below, so definitely let me know what your thoughts are. It says, as he gears up for a potential 2024 showdown with former President Donald Trump, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has enlisted a leading right-wing outlet for advertising, Ben Shapiro's Daily Wire. The Republican governor paid over $100,000 since last year in fundraising expenses to the site, which has aired commentary supporting DeSantis over Trump. It says DeSantis and his associated pack of friends of Ron DeSantis have paid $110,429 for fundraising expenses and list rental to the site since July 2021, according to a search of campaign data with the Florida Department of State. And so I didn't know what a list rental was. I knew what an email list was. It's just a list of emails that you have for like your subscribers and whatnot. I'm sure you guys have been on it, where you sign up for an email list and, you know, Bernie Sanders is sending you out emails, or, you know, AOC or whoever politician, whatever it is, right? Or whatever company, or maybe even a university or whatever, right? And so when they talk about list rentals, it means that they don't give out your information to them, but they say, hey, like, if you give us money, like telling Ron DeSantis, hey, if you pay us money, we'll send out whatever message you want to our subscribers, but not that they give, like, here's our subscribers as data. And so here what Kanye West is committing here is what we call an ad hominem circumstantial fallacy. So this is actually a logical fallacy in which you basically say that the argument that he's stating can't be true because of some kind of personal motive. And so he's trying to say here, he's not even really doing anything here, but like hypothetically, right, let's accept that, you know, this thing is like some kind of a potential personal motive, right? You can't just assert that what he's saying is wrong because he received $100,000 from you know, one of his opponents. I like how he says one of his opponents. DeSantis hasn't even decided to run yet, and it's like calling him one of your opponents is laughably narcissistic because it's also kind of like, oh, what the hell, like, you know, it's like considering yourself a serious contender, which I know he thinks he is, but he's not. And so just because there is this supposed personal motive, it doesn't actually mean that it's necessarily wrong. So it says, suggesting that the person who is making the argument is biased or predisposed to take a particular stance, and therefore the argument is necessarily invalid. Now, the argument can be invalid, but you can't just say that, oh, there's this personal motive and therefore it's wrong. You have to also prove that it's wrong. So if you say that, oh, like, you know, this person is spewing this BS on climate change because they're getting that money, you know, you would have the science to back you up to debunk the claims that they're making, and then you would be correct in saying that, oh, well, that's their personal motive to say it. But he's not actually debunking anything here. I don't even know if he's trying to debunk anything, though, to be fair to Kanye. I don't really know what he's doing here. Oh, just saying, oh, he got $100K from Ron DeSantis. Okay. And what? But the Daily Wire is $100 million annual revenue company. So I just find it troublesome to find that $100,000 is going to be enough to sway their coverage. But then again, at the same time, like it could you know, ratchet up relations and like kind of build up relations and that kind of thing. So I don't know. I'm really confused. I'm really like torn as to, okay, well, how much impact does $100,000 from Ron DeSantis's PAC have on Ben Shapiro's Daily Wire's coverage about him? Because Ben Shapiro has always hated Trump from day one. He just had to mute it because everybody hated him when he went after him. If you guys aren't aware, during the 2016 Republican primary, he was against Trump, but he got a ton of backlash from the right wing for that, and then he capitulated because he had no choice. Otherwise, his career was going to implode. That's why he's too much of a loser even to mention his name, right? He's too scared. He's fearful. He's a little wussy, right? That's why. And so, you know, these are the kinds of things that's going on. And then, you know, Ben Shapiro himself also ended up responding. He says, sadly, you've trashed yourself. You didn't need my help. It wasn't me. It wasn't the Jews. It was just you. And also responding here, oh, and FY, something from a guy named Jeremy Boring. I think this is a dude that works at Daily Wire. We've accepted far more than that from your opponents. DeSantis has rented our list. Trump has rented our list. Virtually every major Republican figure has rented our list at some point. Stupid argument. So this is debatable. Again, like if it's in the past, I don't think it really matters because right now is the now. Politics is a very now thing. So if only DeSantis has rented your lists, I think that then it's like, well, that is a little bit of something going on, and you can just see that there's just so many people just shitting on Ben here, just so many people just shitting on him. This one, like unironically, in other words, get the vaccines dopes. And so people are posting like him saying get the vaccine as like some kind of own, which is like absolutely laughable. But I noticed a large increase in pro-DeSantis articles from the Daily Wire after DeSantis paid you $100,000. Ben, if your company is truly accepting $100K from the DeSantis campaign, might be a good thing to publicly footnote that before tweeting any pro-DeSantis and anti-Trump messages. Perfectly your collective right, but also best to fully disclose that data. That's also true, though. Like, I agree with that. Like, yeah, you should disclose that if you are going to be doing that. It is kind of like, okay, it is kind of sketch because it does kind of give you... Now, they're not claiming to be unbiased. They don't claim to be like some unbiased source. They're very clearly openly biased. So it's not as much, but there is like a conflict of interest kind of going on there technically too. Not necessarily conflict of interest per se, but I guess literally yes. But their goal is not to be an unbiased network. They want to push right-wing propaganda on you, that they're just open about that. As much as I like Ben and the Daily Wire, and I see why Ben has been so much for DeSantis and vehemently against Trump. DeSantis donated $100,000 to the Daily Wire. Makes more sense now. DeSantis did not donate $100,000 to the Daily Wire. He just paid for $100,000 worth of services to the Daily Wire. Now, again, is that going to be something that is like, criticizing him? is that something that's going to impact their coverage? Like, that's questionable, man. So I'm really curious to hear what you guys' thoughts are about that in the comment section down below. Is $100,000 from Ron DeSantis going to sway his coverage in favor of Ron DeSantis? I mean, that's really the good question here. But somebody roasting someone for saying he's Team Shapiro, one of the few political analysts with the objectivity and reason. So he's just getting absolutely like screwed. He's just getting absolutely like rocked here, dude. He's just getting absolutely rocked. You can see this stuff. His fans are just completely turning on him like crazy. And so there's going to be a lot of anti-Semitism coming out of this towards him too, because like I said, the right wing is often very anti-Semitic, especially towards him. But interesting stuff to see how this is going to end up turning out. Obviously, Kanye is not going to make any serious waves, but I don't know. It's going to be weird. Ben Shapiro, I thought, had been like nicer to Kanye than I had thought, but that's because he's been a Republican, and so he has an invested interest in protecting him. And obviously, Candace Owens also works at the Daily Wire, so another question as to like, okay, what the hell is going on? But lots of weird stuff going on here. Let me know your thoughts down below.